Today, what we're going to be talking about is, but what should I create? We have spent time talking about how do you understand yourself? How do you understand your burdens? How do you understand why am I streaming in the first place, and what do I have to offer, and things like that. Well, we get to the place where the question is, okay, well, what am I supposed to create? How do I take this burden that I have, and how do I the people that I care about, and this media that I'm part of, and how do I make it purposeful? How do I be able to move people along from being, the trouble that they're in, whatever it is, the thing that they don't know, or the group that they are, that they're part of that is no good, or the need that they have, or the loneliness that they experience. How do I move them along using my content to a place where they are feeling healing, so that they understand what I'm trying to explain to them, so they can become part of a thriving community, so they can get safe. So whatever you're trying to do, there's a million different things we can do that are positive, but the question is, how do we utilize our content and leverage it so that we can take the people that we care about, the reason that we're streaming, and move them along purposefully to a better place, right? That's what we're talking about. So what is your vision? You are only an influencer if you are using your content to bring people somewhere. I strongly believe that the reason Christian content creators exist is not simply to be a presence, right? There's a lot of people out there that are just, I exist, and therefore, because I'm a Christian and I exist, then it's positive. And I believe that what we should be doing is using that influence, using that presence, using our difference, using whoever we are that God created us to be, to take people places, right? And it doesn't have to be evangelistic. It doesn't have to be everybody has to meet Jesus. Like, at least maybe that's the end of the road at some point. But for you, whatever that is, right? You're taking people somewhere. You're only truly an influencer. You're only really a meaningful content creator if you are using what you're doing, and all the materials you're doing, and all the technology that you have, to take people somewhere. Otherwise, what's the point? We all know plenty of streamers and plenty of content creators, plenty of artists or whatever, that just put out things, right? So let me put it this way. If you put something out, it goes viral, you get 1,000 viewers, you get a million views, and it's super popular, and then nothing happens as a result, right? It goes popular, you get a bunch of views, your channel grows. Versus you put something out there, it reaches, say, 6 people, but those 6 people, they grab onto that material, they start a relationship with you, and you're able to help them to get past whatever their trouble they have, to be able to get them to a healthier place. Which would you rather do? As Christians, I think it's a no-brainer, right? We're not looking for it to go viral. Would it be nice if both of those things happened? Of course, it would be great if we helped lots of people, and also, but we believe, I think you guys believe this too, is that it'd be better for us to have a great effect on a few amount of people than it would be to have zero effect on a huge amount of people. Right? There's plenty of banal stuff going on out there. We don't want to do that. Your content isn't about you. It's about how you can serve your audience. Christian content creators we're servants of all. We are the follower of Jesus, who is the servant of all. And he said, you want to be great in my kingdom, be a servant of all. Part of the service that we provide is our content. That doesn't mean it always has to be informative, and it always has to be, gospel centered. It doesn't have to be a Bible study. It doesn't have to be counseling related. What it means is that it serves a purpose, right? I put out this content. I play this game. I talk about this subject. I come online and I be silly. I come and I read this book. I make this art. I draw this picture. I make this music, because it is an entry point to a larger process. Right? It's an entry point to a larger process. I use that because then when they hear that, they understand my heart. They understand what I'm about. They get to meet me in a special way. They get to see that I'm an authentic individual who's not trying to, mess with anybody, so that I can move them along that process to health. Right? It's not about you. It's about every time you get online, every time you hit go, every time you turn on the camera, every time you turn on your drawing software, it is, okay, in what way is the content that I'm about to create serving the purpose of influencing people to go somewhere, right? That steers your content, because there's going to be some stuff that really doesn't help at all. It could be fun, it could be interesting, it could get you views, get you clicks, it could be viral, could be all kinds of stuff, but it doesn't actually move you forward in your mission, in your vision, in your goal, right? All it does is create its energy that is dissipated into the universe. Your vision is your personal reason for why you create and what effect you want to have on your audience. Your vision, I'm sure you've heard this term many, many times, your vision for your channel, your vision for your church, your vision for your company, your vision for your family, for your children. It really is all about, that future. What do I see? What effect do I want to have on the world, right? When my vision for my children is that they become, good and godly people of good character who love Jesus and love people. That's my vision. That's what I want. So therefore, in order to do that, I'm going to influence them in a certain way. I'm going to talk about it I'm going to educate them in a certain way. We're going to have this kind of interaction. Same thing with every business, right? Our vision is to reach people to be able, so that everybody has a printer in their office and it's like eating all of their income because print ink is worth more than gold for some reason. But that's their mission, to rip everybody off. For us, right, our vision, what's your vision? What are you seeing? This is why my channel exists. This is where I want to bring people. This is my purpose. Why do you turn on the camera? Why do you draw the picture? Why did you write that song? Why did you post that tweet? I believe it needs to be purposeful. Now, let's define vision. Vision is a clear mental picture of a better tomorrow given by God, which moves a person to believe that not only could be done, but it should be done. Okay? So when you're thinking about your vision for your channel, your vision for your content, it is a clear mental picture, as in it's not fuzzy, right? As in it's not just, I want to help people. I wish people felt better. I want lonely people to feel less lonely. It's not fuzzy. It is a clear thing. This is the kind of person that I'm trying to reach. This is my end goal audience. This is where I want to bring them to. Right? I want them to join this kind of group and feel this kind of health and have this kind of emotion and this kind of connection, this kind of knowledge. I want them to go from where I was, because that's why I love them, is usually because they're someone who we were, right? And I want to help them to move to where I am, or at least further closer to where I'm going, right? That's the plan. That's the mission. It's clear. I understand it. It is a better tomorrow. It's not just you're trying to amass things. We've talked about that. It's not just about numbers. It's not just creating energy. It is you're saying, I see that if I can create this content, when I go online and I reach this audience, I can help them have a better tomorrow through what I do, right? They're going to feel less lonely. They're going to feel less ignorant. They're going to understand something in a different way. They're going to be connected to a better group. They're going to get over their addiction. They're going to have tools and resources they didn't have before. They're going to be able to understand what safety is. They're going to have a better grip on their mental health. They're going to understand that they're not alone. Whatever it is, right? It's a better tomorrow. When they leave your stream, when they leave your content, when they're done with that and they go through your system, they're better than they were when they started. Given by God. As Christians, we believe that this isn't something we come up with on our own, but something that is directly tied to our faith. God's gift in your life, God's talent, natural talents He's given you, the opportunity He's given you, the place in which you live, the resources that you have. That's God's idea. That's what God has given you. And so the question is, that what vision is God putting out there? What is He putting into my heart? What emotions do I feel? What people do I care about? That He wants to use me to help take people to that better tomorrow. This is a God-given thing, which becomes its own accountability partner. Because, suddenly I don't want to get on stream. Why do I have to be on time? Why do I have to be energetic? Why do I have to make sure that I show up and I do this right? Well, the answer is because I have a purpose. I have a vision. Everybody who comes to my stream today is a God-given opportunity to move people closer to grace, to love, to hope, to peace, to joy, whatever that is, right? That now I got to get online. Now I got to do this right. Now I got to be excellent. Now I got to push forward, right? Which moves a person. In other words, it should capture your emotions. It should hit you. It's like, man, that where they are hurts my heart, and where I can help them get to makes me want them to be there. Did I tell you guys? I think I told you guys last week about the struggle that I have when it comes to going into town, right, into a city. Did I tell you that last week? Right. That's what I'm talking about. The heart of when you see this group and you're like, it breaks my heart just to look there. I need to get in their lives. It moves you to believe that not only can it be done, as in these people really can get help. I really can do something with these people, but it should be done. It's a moral imperative. As in, if I don't do this, I'm wrong. If I don't do this, I'm not obeying God. If I don't do this, I'm leaving people wallowing in a place where they shouldn't be because I've been given an opportunity to let them not be there. It's a big, big picture of your content being something that is, I have to do it. I have to go there. I have to make this work because people need me, right? And that can be Call of Duty, Fortnite. That can be silly stuff. That can be silly pictures. That can be, drawing comics and making silly songs. It doesn't have to be all super serious. But what it means is every time you're on, I have this picture in my mind of how this is going to help people connect to a better tomorrow. I believe God gave me this vision and that I need to do this. Not only do I believe God will help me to do it, but I need to do this, right? That's the mission. That's where the energy, that's where it comes from. So my question to you is this: has anybody ever inspired you to catch and implement a vision? Have you ever read a book or heard a sermon or listened to a talk or went to a class or whatever, and when you walked out of there, you were like, I see it now. I see the better tomorrow that person described, and I want to be part of that, and I believe that I need to become part of that. Has anybody ever done that for you? All right. So how do you find the vision for your content? So here's you need a vision. Great, cool. How do you find that? How do you locate what that vision is and be able to move it to some place where it has reality? Where is it? The answer is that it takes a while. Let's say that it takes a little while. This isn't something that just happens all at once. This isn't something that you end up doing with sorry, I lost my train of thought because I'm getting beep 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 in my head with Discord. Everybody's excited to talk to me for some reason. So it takes a little while. So let's talk about it. The birth of a vision, the way that you're going to understand your vision is the same way kind of a birth of a child happens. They're the same similar steps. Step one is intimacy, right? The Christian content creator who is seeking God in worship, study, prayer, reflection, catches a vision from him that connects to their passion. So in other words, this doesn't happen unless you're connected to God in a purposeful way. You're doing your devos, you're worshiping, you're praying, you're seeking him, you're doing your journaling, you're killing those sins in your life that God is convicting you of, you're serving other people, you're doing what we call the ordinary means of grace, just the standard Christian stuff. You know what I mean? And as you do that, God begins to work in you some kind of feeling, some kind of connection, some kind of desire, some kind of something. It's not, it's a zygote at this point. Like there's not much there, but for you, it begins to become meaningful. In fact, and it'll connect to your passion. Something that you'll start to say is like, man, when I was growing up, this was really important to me. Or when I first got saved, this was really important to me. Or right after I had my kid, this became really important to me. And all of a sudden it becomes to fruition why that nebulous thought of why this was important starts connecting to a group of people, starts connecting to a God-given mission, and those things start to converge. Then comes conception. You feel a sense of calling, but you're not totally sure where or how to implement it, right? You get this like, okay, I'm starting to see this. I understand as I'm going through this thing, I see this need. I see this thing I want to change. I feel this hurt for whatever group, or I feel this longing for whatever group, or I feel like I need to do something. And I want something to change, right? You get this idea of something's got to change. I need that better tomorrow. But I don't know what it is. I don't know how to do it, right? That conception is such a critical point because what'll end up happening is that for example, if you skip the intimacy part, then whatever you build is going to look like you instead of look like what God wants it to look like, right? So you could call it Christian. You could call it a ministry. You could do all kinds of stuff to make it Christiany. But because you weren't connected to God in a purposeful way, that thing is going to look like you instead of looking like God. It's going to be, you're going to be talking about God, but it'll be a God of your own creation. You'll be talking about Jesus, but it'll be a Jesus that you invented. You'll be talking about the Bible, but it'll be the part of the Bible that you like best and not the parts that you don't like and all the parts that you've been ignoring. And because you don't have spiritual protection, you are being tempted towards areas that you don't even notice you're going. And suddenly your good idea, which you thought was, a God idea, isn't going the right way. The conception, that idea of calling, ended up being something that you wanted to do and not what God was calling you towards. When you do this correctly, then suddenly it's okay that you can't understand where to implement. You don't know. And to go, okay, this is definitely going to look like me and it's going to look like God. The way the baby works, right? Baby's going to look like mom and dad. This thing is going to be like, okay, this is my interest and this is my passion. This is the heart that I have. This is how it lines up with God's word. This is how it lines up with my circumstances. This is how it lines up with the people God is putting in my life. It's going to look like both, right? Not going to look like everybody else. Not going to look like mine. Not going to look like other people. Maybe there'll be echoes and reflections and people you can learn from. But you are an individual chosen by God, who God has given talents and abilities and put into a certain location. It's going to look a little like you, and that's okay. That's what it's supposed to look like. Then comes gestation. The vision takes a while to form. This is where you're changing your habits, you're clarifying your mission. God is stretching you. Okay. So this is a very long period of time. For a baby, this is, multiple weeks. This is, 40 weeks of a baby growing. For you, it could take longer. It could be years as you are really figuring out why you do what you do, who you're supposed to be doing it for. When I first started streaming, I was like many other streamers, and it was, I'm going to be evangelistic, right? There are people out there who need help. There are people out there who are lost, lonely, and disenfranchised, people who don't, who are gamers, and I want to help them to know Jesus better, or I want them to feel comfortable, or I want, all the things that we always say as Christian streamers. And it took about 3-4 months before things started to change in my head and God started to work in my heart and kind of go, you know what? I don't want you to do that. That's what everybody else is doing. I made you into a pastor. You're a preacher, teacher, pastor, leader, developer. That's what I want you to do. What you've been doing for the last 16 years, do it more. But do it for Christian content creators. Take the people that are left behind, all the lost, lonely, and disenfranchised that you have talked about, that you care about. Well, I'm going to focus that, right, onto Christian content creators. That's who I want you to serve. The lost, those, the disenfranchised, those, the ones who feel as though we've been left behind. Okay, then that starts to focus. Well, that's 3 months in. Suddenly at 6 months in, I'm still trying to figure this thing out. I start bouncing it off a few people. I start pitching it online. I start talking about this idea. If you go back, you can't, but if you went back in my VODs, I didn't shut up about it for months. Like, this is on my heart. I don't know exactly what it's supposed to look like. And does anybody else have this in their thoughts? And what are you thinking? Suddenly people who were like-minded came up to me and were like, yeah, I'm thinking something similar. Don't know. Well, let's pray together. Let's think about this. Let's process it. A year goes by, year and a half goes by. And in that meantime, Taco is starting to form and the paperwork's starting to form. And we're knocking off edges and we're gluing things onto it, because as we're doing this, God is forming it in a more specific way. And it took a really long time. I had to change my stream. I had to change how I would communicate. I had to change my priorities of what I thought I was going to do. I had to change the way it was designed. I had to learn different things instead of just doing, like creator stuff. I had to do creator stuff plus leadership development stuff for creators. What does that look like? Right? Everything kind of took a while to develop. That's a good thing. Most people I know that are new Christian creators that take this class, they are in the conception gestation stage. They're either, I feel a sense of purpose, I feel like I should be doing this, but I have no idea what to do. Or I feel like a sense of purpose, and I definitely, there is an audience that I want. There is a reason that I'm here. There is somebody a group that I want to serve, but I don't know exactly how to serve them. And it's starting to form, and I try this and I try that, and my stream has this mission, but I've changed about like 17 times this month because I'm about something and I don't know exactly what it is. They're in the gestation stage. this is where you're developing your gifts and talents. Concentrating on your weaknesses is not the right decision. I'm going to tell you this. This is a key part that can be a little controversial. But if you, okay, if you go ask for advice from somebody and you say, I'm really good at this. Let's say I'm really good at talking. I'm really good at encouraging people, or I'm really good at this, at organizing something. But I really suck at financial management. I am terrible with money. I don't understand it at all. The average advice you're going to get is, well, actually, if you're going to go into this thing, you better go learn how to be a financial person. You better go fill that hole. Go figure out that weakness, right? That is not the advice I'm going to give you. If you work really hard on your weaknesses, you will achieve adequacy. You will be as good as the normal people, because it doesn't come naturally to you. It's not that easy, but you had to work really hard at it, and you'll become okay. If you forget about your weaknesses and you concentrate on your gifts and talents, the things that you're really good at, you will become excellent and amazing at them. Okay? So now you have two areas of your life, or something in your life, that you are excellent, amazing, exceptional, different, special, attractive in regards to, and areas of your life that you are absolutely no good at. What do you do with those areas? You staff them, you pay someone to do them, you ask for help. Push that to other people that you can trust. Concentrate on the thing you're really, really good at. It isn't about going and filling in all your weaknesses and becoming a great whatever. It is about figuring out who you are, who God created you to be, what talent you have, what you can do special, and then making yourself great at that. And then go find other people to help with the other stuff. We'll talk about that later. Right? That's what happened to me when I first started this thing, about 3 months in. I knew I needed help. That I'd taken this course before, so I know I needed help. So I'm going to ask, and I put together 9 different jobs. I need, editors. I need video editors. I need people to tell me, what kind of things are happening out there, because I'm old and out of touch, and so I need someone to help me with that. I need prayer accountability people. I need someone to help with graphics. I need people to help. And so I said, but I also have no money, and I'm doing this, right? So I can't pay people. So I just put it out there, and I said, listen, I'm putting together a Stream Dream team, and I have these positions, and this is what I think I need help with. Can you guys think about it, pray about it, and maybe think about joining me? This is going to be a group that, instead of me going, could you please maybe think about possibly helping me? It's a group where I'm going to go, hey, here, do this because I need help with it. And you'll do it because you joined the team, right? Within 24, 48 hours, I had 9 people on the team. I asked for help. I told them what I need, where my weaknesses were, and they went, I can do that. And I had 9 people in the group, and 7 of them are still with me. 2 of them gone on to bigger, better things. And they, that was lovely to watch them develop and become amazing. But I asked for help because I have weaknesses. If I had spent all my time on those, I would never be doing what I'm doing now. Right? Next is labor. The work is more frequent and intense. Spiritual attack bring pain and struggle, but you're close. Right? This is the baby's coming, and everything gets real scary and sweaty and gross and painful and screamy for a little while. That is exactly what happens when you are birthing your vision, right? You're getting it. You understand now, this is the people I want to care about, and this is how I want to do it, and this is where it's going, and I've done some experimentation, and I've done some training. I get it. Let's get this thing going. And as you start to grow, and as you start to push, and as you start to focus, suddenly Satan's like, well, we got to shut that down, because that's a threat to my kingdom. And so you start getting hammered, your family starts getting hammered, your finances go squirrely, your church goes squirrely, people start getting sick. Like all of a sudden your life is just chaotic. And that's normal. I can't tell you how many times, and it was like math. It was like 1-to-1 ratio. When I started, I'm like, we're going to launch a thing in Taco. We're going to launch a thing on my channel. It's a big deal. We've been planning it for a while. Get ready for it. I knew that week, or the 2 weeks, is going to be all hell at my house. People are going to be losing their minds. We're going to be arguing more. People are going to get sick. People are going to get it's crazy, crazy stuff. We're going to get phone calls. We're going to have stuff that we haven't even thought about come out of nowhere, and it's going to happen. So get ready for it. And it happens so regularly, we could plan for it. I would tell the people that were on my dream team and also that were on the taco board, I'm like, guys, if you join up with me and you know this, your life's going to get worse because we're taking on a battle, and this spiritual battle is going to be real, and it's going to affect you, and worse, it's going to affect your loved ones. And you gotta recognize that before you decide to jump in on this thing, because I am a maelstrom of demonic hate. It happens all the time here. You're going to be part of that because we're doing something huge. Same with you. When you start processing and getting ready for this and understanding it, and you're ready to launch, your life's going to go kablooey. Just recognize that and go, yep, this is a good thing. This is a sign that I'm headed in the right direction. This is a sign that, you know, the end. Because you were swimming downstream the whole time and there were no resistance, good chance you're probably not a threat, right? But if all of a sudden there's lots of resistance, chances are that you're a problem. Now, if that resistance comes from like your elders, your pastor, your parent, your Christian friends, if they're all the ones resisting, maybe sit down and listen, because chances are you're off and God's trying to get a hold of you. You went the wrong way. But if the resistance is from outside and whatnot, you can definitely know that you're very close. And suddenly your vision is birthed. It's realized. People see the fruits of your journey. All the people that were like, this will never work. You're wasting your time. Why you can't do this online? Digital missions is stupid. All of a sudden, all those people are like, wow, I knew you could do it. You're so good. I'm so excited for you. Let's celebrate. How can you help me do that? Because I really believe in what you were doing. And, the instinct is to punch them in the mouth and then walk away because, where were you? I needed help for like the last 2 years and I'm losing my mind. But all of a sudden you were like, no. And here you are now. Instead of doing that, ask them for help. Cool. Now you get it. I need your time. I need your money. I need your energy. I need you to support me. You get it now. You see it work and you believe in me. I believe you believe in me because you said so. Join me. Partner with me. Right? That's what's going to happen. Yes, you want to kind of lose your marbles on these people. Like, I worked so hard and you were always a no. Why are you a yes now? But instead, just go, you know what? Work with me on this. Come with me together on this. And then they're going to be a champion because they watched you struggle. They watched you. And they were one of the reasons that you were struggling. And they're going to help you. They're going to help you. So before we jump too far into this, the question is, before we get to the next part, is what stage do you think you're on right now? Intimacy, conception, gestation, labor, birth. Where are you at in your content creation, vision creation process? I'll back up so that you guys can see all the definitions. We're going to keep going. By the way, you at this point, if there's a lot of people who feel like, oh man, this is huge. Why is he talking so big? This isn't what I wanted to, he's way bigger than I thought it was going to be. Don't be intimidated by it. Part of my job here is to get you to think big thoughts, to process big ideas, to seek God for what he wants you to do. And then for you to narrow this stuff down and for you to figure this stuff out, figure out, like it doesn't have to be you're creating an entire, giant thing. Yours vision could be very small and for a very select group of people in a very specialized way. That's perfectly valid. There's nothing wrong with that. Just recognize when I'm speaking and when I'm putting this stuff out there. If you feel that sense of discomfort and you feel that sense of, oh, I don't know if I can do all this and I'm not totally sure if I'm cut out for this huge thing. It is huge concepts that I want you to think through, but it can be implemented in a very simple, straightforward way. Okay? Don't get stressed out just because I'm giving you big stuff. It's a good thing. I want you to think big, but the application can be fairly simple. We're going to talk about how to find the vision for your content a bit more, and this is how to fulfill the vision. So let's say that you've gotten to the place where you're like, okay, I kind of get it. Or maybe you're at the place where I have no idea what my vision is still. And you're like, how do you get there? How do you find that, get real specific in it? We're going to use Matthew chapter 9, verse 35 to 10:8, which is about Jesus launching into his ministry and talking about how he does things and launching off his team. And like, how did he do that? What was his process? This is how we see him implement his vision from him to a bigger way. So that's step one. Step one here. Jesus went through all the towns teaching and preaching. So in other words, Jesus didn't wait around. If you want to know how to get your vision going and you want to implement this thing and kick it off, you have to be in motion, right? Even if you're in the intimacy section, right? Even if you're just at the very beginning, you need to be initiating service, doing the things that are necessary for spiritual growth, for serving other people, for loving other people, all the normal Christian stuff. There are a lot of people who, especially in content creation, especially in streaming, I've found, who have said no to everything spiritual. Like, I'm not going to church, and I do not want a pastor to talk to me, and I do not want an accountability. I'm not going to a Christian group. They're all just like the worst. I'm a Christian, though, so I'm going to pray that God will, give me this vision. And I'm just going to, hunker down and sit cross-legged until God, sends angel feathers and a note to be able to tell me what to do. And that's not how God operates. He operates as you are in process, as you are in service. The waiting on God from Scripture is not a passive waiting. It's not a stopping yourself and just sitting around and doing nothing. It is an active waiting. I'm fully convinced that you already know 95% of what God wants you to do with your life. That other 5% will come as you do the 95, right? Go find all the one another's in Scripture. Love one another, encourage one another, be hospitable to one another, take care of one another, bear one another's burdens. Go find those. Go do that for people, right? Find all the different ways that the sins you need to mortify and the people you need to serve, and baptism and communion and repentance and evangelism and being a host and having people in your home, like things like that. Whatever that version is for you, whether it be online or offline. But as you do those 95% of the things you're supposed to be doing, that's where the next step comes in. When he saw the crowds, Jesus was doing and he was watching. Your job there is to observe and understand the reality of human conditions. As you're there, someone is going to bump into you. Someone is going to bump into you. And your heart is going to be connected to them, right? It's going to be that issue, that person, that thing, whatever you just bumped into. Man, that hurts my heart. Jesus was looking out and he saw the crowds. He understood that they were not in a good place, how oppressed they were and how things were messed up. And it motivated him towards action. In the same way, as you serve, you're going to be able to see whatever it is. Wow, youth really need help. That's not good. There are a lot of youth out there that don't know who they are and who God is. And I want to help them do that. Wow, the children of divorce, they're really alone and they don't have anybody caring for them. Wow, gamers out there that are sitting in their basement and they are by themselves and they don't have anyone to reach in. I want to reach in. I want to reach in there and grab those guys because I know what that's like. And I met somebody, young men who have no connection to the faith or to life, who are completely blown themselves to smithereens with drugs, alcohol, and porn. And all kinds of horrible stuff. Man, that life is miserable. Those people really grip me. But it only happens as you're out serving. You're not going to see these people, and you're not going to really understand how you're to help them and what they need unless you're doing it. That's the second thing. Get out there and take a look. He had compassion on them. Jesus felt pity when he saw their condition. So allow God to burden you with a specific need, right? So you're out there, you're like, wow, young men, holy moly, they're rough. Or wow, whatever your group is. What specific need can you serve, right? I can give them a crash pad so that they are not, or I can help them with their addictions, or I can be a positive voice in their life where everyone else is negative, or I can give them books and tools, or I can do whatever it is, right? I can, through my content, through my ability, through my life, through my personality, through my talents, that need, that's the one I can get to, not big, broad. This is why you're going to hear me say a million times, get specific, be specific. because the more specificity you can get, the more laser focused you can make your vision, your mission, your content, your audience, the more help you can be to them. Because if you aim at the wall, you're going to hit it, but you won't have done much. But if you can hit that bullseye of this is who I'm trying to serve, and this is how I'm going to serve them, and this is how I'm moving along, and this is going to help them, you'll actually make some progress in changing lives, right? So get real specific with that burden and that specific need. The harvest is plentiful, the workers are few. Jesus identified the problem. Seek a divine diagnosis for what issue needs your help. For you, like, now I see the problem. I see the problem. God, what am I supposed to do about it? What am I supposed to do about this? I don't know how exactly I'm supposed to do something, but I definitely want to do something. My desire is birthing. My vision is birthing. My what I want to bring these people is coming together. Not birthing, I guess. Conceiving. No, what's the word in the middle? Gestating. Gestating is gestating, and so therefore I want to do something. God, help me understand what. Right. Seek a divine diagnosis for that issue that needs your help. The people you're going to help and how you're going to help them. Jesus said, ask the Lord of the harvest, therefore, to send workers. So Jesus identified the solution. So pray and determine what action could meet that need, right? Well, through my content, through my personality, through the tools that I have, the places that I have, the people I can reach, I can do this. That's the thing I can do, right? I am really great at, or I am really capable of, or I have been there and I understand, or I have access to this group, whatever it is, and I'm going to meet this need. You can't meet everybody's needs. You can't meet all of everybody's needs. It's impossible. And you may think, wow, I really care about this person and they've got like 17 needs. You know what I mean? They got real problems and I want to help them. And your instincts would be like, how do I fix all 17 of those? You can't. You're not equipped. You're not able. You don't have the talent, the ability, the resources. You don't. What you can do is really help them with the one. You can get real focused on one, and then you can trust that God's going to take care of the rest. Think of it this way, a food bank, right? Food bank's super specific. There are hungry people who don't have food. They come here and they get food. If the food bank was like, well, these people also need mental health counseling, so we should probably open up a mental health center on the side here. And they also usually need, they're homeless people and they need showers, they need some medical. We're going to open a nursing station over here, and we're going to have a shower section over here. We're going to have all kinds of stuff. Well, all of a sudden, the money, the resources, the staffing, and all the rest of that stuff for feeding the people is way less. And now you got a really crappy version of showers and not a very good nurse and not a very good crash pad. And and the food, you're not able to afford it anymore. Why? Because you spread yourself too thin. So just focus on that one need. I'm going to feed people the food that shows up. That's plenty good. Because trust that God will take care of the rest. Trust he has other people he's going to bring into this. Trust that he knows what he's doing. And when he says, okay, I need you to be this, right? Go be that. It's baseball illustration, football illustration, like whatever the thing you are, be that. If you're trying to take over other people's jobs, you're going to do them worse and you're going to get in the way. He called his 12 disciples and gave them authority. So Jesus didn't work alone. Find and form a support team and empower them to help you. This is a really important part, and I think one of the biggest struggles that your average Christian Twitch streamer is going to have. They struggle with people. They struggle with social anxiety, struggle with mental health issues. They don't have connections to churches or small groups. They are anti-authority, anti-institution. So the idea of forming a support team is scary. And they don't have a group of people they can really ask. Many are too small, and so they don't have like a big group of people that are watching them that they can pull from. So it's a real struggle. But I think the most important thing for you to do is to settle in your heart. I can't do this alone, and I shouldn't do this alone. If I am doing this alone, I am doing it wrong. I need other people, right? Like that's why we do Taco Team. Remember how Maria was like, we're a chaplain because we think people need help. We have accountability structure because people need accountability. We have prayer groups because people need spiritual support. I'm a pastoral counselor, so I can talk to people. We have leadership development. Like people need other people to help them. So do you. If you do this alone, you're not only going to get yourself in trouble, but you're going to miss your mission. You're going to get exhausted. You're going to get resentful. It's not going to go well. So ask God to provide workers, or, and this is another really good one, find a team to join. Go grab some other streamers, go grab some other folks and be like, okay, you're good at this and I'm good at this, and I need people to help me out. And you need people too. So let's see if we can do this together. Right? I'm great at entertaining and you're great at drawing and she's great at sound and that person knows how to run OBS really well. Let's see if we can figure this out together. That's how this works. There's nowhere in scripture you're going to find, and then he did it all by himself, right? Jesus himself was like, okay, I'm God and I can literally do everything always, no problem. I'm going to go find literally dozens and dozens and dozens of people to be able that I can work through and help, right? And then he gave us, he ascended and he's like, okay, job's yours. Go guys. He gave it to people. He works with people. And if God does, we should. If you want to wreck your entire mission and life for that matter, when you talk about your team or when you try to put your team together or when you try to meet with other people, you want to destroy it. Focus on self, image, status, and what you can gain. If you create a group that is focused on you, right? You're like, how can I find people that'll make me feel better, that'll work, that'll make me look good, that will, pump me up, that are a bunch of yes men that think I have great ideas. And I'm going to create the channel around pointing at me. You're going to destroy your mission. Your vision won't come to fruition because you're not an end goal, right? You shouldn't be the one people are pointing towards. You're not the one that people are supposed to be focusing on. You are the conduit. People will come to you first, but you're not the end goal. Same with image. If you have people that are focused on your image, or you're so worried about how you look and how cool your overlays are and how great your group is and who you get to connect to and all the rest of that stuff, if that's what you're worried about and you choose your team based on how good they're going to make you look, you're going to destroy your mission, right? Because it's not about your image. It's about conveying the image of Christ to people, conveying someone else's pictures, but that other person, and helping them discover who God created them to be, not to prop yourself up and show that you are who everybody should be. Same with status. If you're very excited about having some big streamer join your team, or big streamer having to raid you, or some big content creator who starts to, notice you or whatever, and that gets you excited because now you're elevating yourself in status, you're setting yourself up for failure, because you're not only are you a bigger target now, because if you end up successful in bigger numbers, you're a bigger target. But at the same time, you're going to alter your trajectory of your mission to get more status, and you'll be terrified of losing those connections. Problem with Christian missions and problem with being a Christian missionary is the fact that your message is inherently offensive. It's gonna cause problems. And so therefore, if you're worried about what people think of you and worried about keeping those connections safe and worried about being big and having your, the sponsors and stuff, you're going to alter your vision. You're going to alter your mission. You're going to give more time to that than you are to the people you're serving, or what you can gain for yourself. Don't, if in your mind at some place is, I want to do this so I can make money. I want to do this so I can be popular. I want to do this so that I can convince my mom that this wasn't a waste of time. If I want to do this so I can get, Razer to sponsor me so I can get cool keyboards, or if there's something on your mind that is there, like in the back, I want my mission to be successful so that I can gain these things for myself. That's that's one of the goals I have. You're going to not be able to serve your people properly. Your content's going to suffer because you will sell out, right? You'll be distracted by the gain and not be able to do what God has created you to do and serve who God has created, because it is not about what you gain for yourself. It is about what you can give to others. That's what your content's about. It is not about your status. It is about elevating others. You humble yourself so that you can elevate others. It's not about your image and how you look. It's about making other people feel better and other people look better and pointing other people at God and hope and life and whatever help they can be, and you getting out of the way so other people can take over when they need to. It's not about self. It is about literally everybody else except you. It is all about this channel, my content, everything exists for other people. It's not for me. I'm just not only second, I'm 10th. Everybody else is more important. Everybody else gets my energy. They're the reason that I'm on here. As soon as it becomes about you, your team, your focus, you're going to destroy your Christian mission. You could blow up, man. You could be the biggest whoever on Twitch and ultimately be doing nothing meaningful and be deceived because you think you're so great. And the last thing, Jesus sent the 12 out. Jesus got a team and got to work. Share the vision, equip the team, take action to fulfill the mission. This is this is sort of the birth. Once you understand it, you felt it, you got there, and you're moving forward. You got your team. That's where your job is to continuously tell people about the mission, explain why you're doing what you're doing, explain why it's important. Like, you're the key figure, right? You're the one who's standing. You're the front bowling pin, so that you're the one kind of going, okay, let me explain why I serve these people and what's important about these people and why we're serving them and why we need to help them with money and why we need counseling and why my Discord is the way it is and why my content is the way. You keep sharing that vision over and over and over. So you could remember. That's one thing. So you can remember. And so other people know what you're all about. Equip the team, right? That's part of your job. Is if you got a moderator, tell them how to moderate your stream. What are your priorities? I know plenty of streamers and plenty of content creators are like, I need a mod, and then the mod shows up, and you give them mod powers, and you have no idea. You've never explained to them at all how to moderate your stream, right? What are your priorities for chat? What's important for them? Because I remember when I started having mods, and they were in, people would come into my chat, and the instinct for my moderators was to ban and block anybody who was coming up and bringing, a little bit of flack, a little bit of issue, a little bit, feeling like they're trolling. And I had to tell them, no, I don't ban and block. I talk to trolls. That's what I do. They come in and we have big talks, and I use them for being able to either talk about evangelism or God or Bible or counseling or something. I find them helpful. Yes, of course, anybody who's like awful or there to be harmful, we bounce them. But no, don't be blocking those people. I need the questions. I want the questions. That's how you moderate my chat. Right? Maybe other people don't like that. I want that. And then take action and fulfill the vision. Obviously, get going. Okay, so before I jump into the next thing, I just want to pause and just ask for reflections or comments or anything. I talked a whole lot. I dumped a big pile of information on you guys. And so does anybody have anything they want to ask or say or push back on? Last thing. This is, remember we've been talking about the elevator speech, how y'all need an elevator speech, and every time we do the review, we ask, what's your elevator speech? This is how to do that. Also, if you want to explain to your church and get some support and tell them what you're doing, this is how. When your grandma asks, what do you do? This is how to tell them so that they can understand. This is how you convey your vision to other people in an effective way, okay? This is super, super important, because if you're serious about this, and you want help, and you want support, and you want to tell your detractors to stick it up their nose, this is the system on how to do that. Step 1 of your talk. And this can be happening in one page. This doesn't have to be like a 45-minute talk. We can do this in one page. In fact, for your elevator speech, you're going to try to compress this into 2 sentences. This is how it goes. Number 1, have a strong beginning. So in other words, you start with a personal story or emotional illustration. So for example, when I would say something like this. Let me tell you about my friend who is called Dragon. Let me tell you a little bit about my interactions with a guy named Dragon. Let me tell you about his life a little bit. Let me tell you about the struggles that he has a little bit, and how we as a community online have been able to help him, and how no other community in the entire world other than our online community has been able to touch him and to be able to help him and practically make his life better, spiritually lead him. Let me tell you about Dragon, right? The emotional illustration, you could use a generic emotional illustration. Let me tell you, let me paint you a picture of a guy who is sitting in a room, and the computer is there. He has, various bottles of things lying around. He hasn't gone outside. The only people he talks to are the Uber guy and the Amazon guy. Those are the only people that look him in the eye. The rest of the time, he's in front of a screen. He works in front of a screen. He plays in front of a screen. He talks to the screen, and no human being can crack in there. Your mission, your vision, all the stuff you have for your church, your life, the people that you're trying to help, you can't get in there. You don't even know where he lives. I can get in there, right? Personal illustration or emotional illustration. Number 2, stick to one theme. You might do a lot of things. What do you do most and best? Your instinct is going to be, well, if I tell them the 25 things that I do, they're going to be super impressed. And they're going to be like, wow, they work really hard. I want to support that. No, what they'll do is forget all 25 because you have given them far too much information. What you need to do is figure out what you do most and best, right? You might do a lot, but stick to a theme. I'm here to, lead content creators closer to their mission. That's what I do. Do I do other stuff? Of course I do. I'm here to build a community, a meaningful community for the lost and the lonely that are on the internet. That's what I do, right? I help people who have mental health issues feel a sense of safety, feel a sense of understanding and belonging, and I help them find healing for that through the system that I've created. That's what you do. Or is there a million other things? Do you play games, and do you raise money, and do you draw, and do you, have a social media presence, and do you, do things in real life? All that stuff, Yes. But every time you add another thing that you do, they forget the last thing that you did. Okay? That's just how people are. Stick to one theme. Use simple language. Being clear is far more important than being clever. I can't tell you how important this is. There's so many people out there, so many organizations, so many channels, so many people who really want to be clever. They want a really cool acronym. They want to make it all alliterative. They want to have some kind of weird illustration that makes them feel cool, or they try to shoehorn like a game or like D&D or some kind of something into their talk because they want it to be clever. All you're doing is murkying up the waters of what you're trying to convey. It is, if you can be clever and clear, more power to you. But more often than not, when you try to be clever and you try to use that goofy acronym, or you try to explain with a million pounds of jargon what you do and trying to impress them with how smart you are, all you're doing is losing your audience. They don't know what you do when you started talking, and now they don't know what you do after you're done talking because you confuse them, right? Be simple. Right? Even using the term Twitch, even using the term live streaming, there are plenty of people out there who don't know what that is, right? How it sounds insulting, but how dumbed down can you make this so that your average person can listen? If you were explaining this to a 10-year-old, if you're explaining this to somebody with a grade 3 reading education, how would you explain this, right? That's probably a great place to start because then everybody can understand, right? Later, when they're talking to you one-on-one, feel free to be as clever as you want to be, because now you've built that relationship. They understand and they want to know more. But when you're just explaining yourself, you gotta be simple. You gotta use very, very simple language. Use pictures. There are people who do not think in words, and so for them, they need something to grab onto. So whether it is on your handout, or whether it's in your little booklet, or whether it's your PowerPoint behind you, even if it's one picture, just picture of a silhouette of a guy and like a glowing monitor behind him, and it's just dark, and that's it. You have this picture up there people can grab onto and go, okay, that conveys the lonely nature, or conveys the addiction, or conveys the importance of gaming, or it conveys something, right? The thing that you want to convey, that picture is important. If you don't have the picture, if it's just a brick of text, they're going to not read it. If you have a picture, they're going to remember it. Okay. If you have the picture up here, whoever's listening and has that kind of learning, that's their learning system, then you're going to help them out, right? They have something to grab onto. They may not remember anything you said, but they'll remember the feeling that you conveyed and that picture, which is plenty. Then you've actually done pretty good. They won't experience it until they experience it visually. Number 5, end on an emotional note. Share your heart. Why do you care? And why should people support you? This isn't a personal story. This is, why do you care? Right? This is where I go, this is important to me because I am one of these people. I know what it's like to be afraid to go to church, and I know what it's like to have a panic attack in the middle of a grocery store, and I know what it's like to be afraid to talk to folks that you know are safe, but you are so scared to be able to walk out there and have a conversation with these people. And it's completely irrational, but it keeps you in line. I know what it's like to wish someone to reach out to me, but also be afraid someone's going to reach out to me. I know what it's like to be lost and lonely and not know what to do with myself and not know how to get help. And then to reach out online and to reach out into a digital community and have that person speak into my heart and connect to me in a special way. I know what that's like. That's why it's important to me. I love these people and I want the best for them, right? Share your heart. Why do you care, right? You personally, not just why should they care? Why do you care, right? And people need to support you because, hey, man, you can't get to these people, but I can, right? That's, or you can't serve these people, or you can't teach these people, or nobody's out there doing this, but I am, right? And if you can do that, all 5 of those things, then you can have a pretty good chance that people are going to understand what you do. You can do that in a very short period of time, right? Very short. And in fact, if you're doing your elevator speech, it should be about 1 or 2 sentences, right? I serve the lost, the lonely, and the disenfranchised by creating a meaningful community through gaming, real talk, and God's truth, right? I use the word meaningful in the community. I use real talk because those are emotional words. They understand the emotional words. It is short. It is actually a little too long because I use too many commas in there. But the idea is they're lost, they're lonely. Those are emotional languages. They're visual, right? They explain why I care because obviously if I'm saying that they're lonely, they're disenfranchised, it means that I think that's a bad thing. It's short, and I did it in like 1.5 or 2 sentences. You need to come up with that too. Every raid that comes in, every third new person that comes in, right? Kind of thing, especially when you're building. It's, hey, this is me. Welcome to the channel. My name is Christian Ninja. I'm here to build an open, encouraging, and meaningful online family through gaming, real talk, and God's truth. Thanks for coming. That's what I'm all about. And then I can break that down. I want it to be open, as in it's for everybody. I want it to be meaningful, as in it's purposeful. I actually put purpose into it. We have teams that make that thing work. You can expand on it, but can you do it in 2 sentences? That's what I want you to do. And be as close to that as you can, I guess, within your 2 sentences. Really, you can write it out and then try to slim it down. Next time, we're going to be doing how do I make the most of my time? We're going to be working on time management, but that's the end of that. We're going to jump in now to the review. So please pull out your reviews, and then we're going to do that. I will. That's a hard part. There's a real spike in difficulty, and it's a good thing to be there to birth if you understand your vision, if you can speak it clear. Like if you can say in 2 sentences, this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm doing it for, and this is where we're going, then you understand your vision. If you've trained and done your gifts, done your talents, you're good at what you do, and you have maximized whatever you're capable of, and then staffed for the rest. If you have, then you're ready to launch. That's, in that labor stage. You haven't got there yet, obviously. Things haven't, but you're ready to go. If that's true, that's great because there are very few people who are really in that stage. For me, it's a lot easier when I kick this thing off and it's like, okay, I'm going to do taco. What are we going to do? Well, we're going to gather together some people and we're going to hold them accountable, and they're going to be Christian streamers. We're going to make a team. We're going to have a board. And we're going to get 401c3, and then I'm going to teach classes on how to stream, right? Now I'm doing that, right? So it happened, the baby is born, and we're actually getting it done. I think the difference between labor and birth is where you producing from the vision. You're taking people through the steps, the delineated steps from the audience that you care about to where you want them to be. That's actually happening. Right? It's no longer theory. You're not still adjusting. You're not still trying to figure out exactly, who these people are and who do I care about and where am I supposed to take them. It's happening. You're seeing fruit develop. You're seeing things happen. You're watching them develop. Maybe they're not all the way to the end. You know what I mean? Your Discord is still fairly thin, and you're still trying to figure out exactly what all that material looks like. But at least you're seeing progression. I think that's where the birth is. Now you got to be careful confusing that with the gestation section of experimentation, right? I have an idea. I'm pretty sure I understand. I get the concept. Now you're throwing things at the wall. That's all going to feel, oh, that worked. Did I just birth my vision? Well, no, you figured out a thing that worked, right? And now there's a few more things so that you can clarify, so you can make sure that you can convey it well, so you can, set up where you're supposed to be and how you're supposed to be communicating and all that stuff. Experimentation is good when your experiments work out. It would be bad if you did an experiment, it worked, and then you were like, I am done. This is my vision. I have birthed it now. And that was just like a part of your vision. It was meant to clarify one little part of it, and it was supposed to be a bigger thing. That, like, for example, that would be like, I went on stream, I played a game, and I did a Devo, and I had like 30 people show up, and it was awesome. And wow, that was a really good conversation. Boom, I birthed my vision. That's what I'm doing from now on. Well, no, not necessarily. It means that stream, that section, that time was like, okay, I figured out that, there is an audience out there for this. And I figured out kind of how I'm supposed to be doing this whole gameplay thing. And I figured out how I'm communicating the Devo a little bit better. But does that move people along? Did that reach the group that I wanted to reach? Or was that just a bunch of people that have already been reached? Did it take them anywhere? And where am I taking them? Like, experimentation is good, but it's not birth.